Moby talks accelerates my development. Can you illustrate more on that?
Sure. There are 2 or 3 parts about it. Actually, accelerating development itself. One bit is about the technology that you choose to develop. So, at least from our experience and from number of people that we have seen, it's web technologies are markedly easier to develop anything in than compared to the native technologies, including Java. So the debate, and again it depends on whom you talk to, but if you look at it in a macro perspective. So there are, second bit is how much of information about it is available onto the internet. And that also is quite, quite similar, depends on what kind of technologies that we are using. So for example, if you look at Symbian, they probably have 2 million user base, developer base. If you look at Linux, that has that much more. If you look at web technology, there are tens of millions of developers all over the internet who's creating content for you, which you can use onto the mobile phone. So that's the second bit which accelerates you. And the third bit which accelerates your development is how many standard components that you have. So let's say you're trying to develop a standard RSS feed reader. Do you have an example application that just copy paste the code and it will work? Just change the feed URL and everything will work. We need to tweak the UI a little bit and so on and so forth. So from these 3 perspectives, just choosing web technology solves first 2 problems for us. And then we develop some sort of example application, database of example, source code for our developers to pick and choose some samples.
Yeah. Other question is from the technology transition perspective, right? You move from a PC to a mobile.
Right.
How do you facilitate that? I mean, just from the migrating the users to use more mobile applications rather than traditional web applications.
Oh, from users' point of view.
Yes. I mean, not from the user's perspective, but what is your role on that kind of thing?
Right. Okay. So as far as the downloadable mobile, and I'll just even further reduce the domain of this particular thing. Let's talk about downloadable mobile applications in India. Okay. When we segment the market to that level, you will see that we are in a really early stage in terms of end user usage of downloadable mobile applications. So though we have a lot of now app stores in OV, Sermania and so on and so forth, there's still the amount of usage that is onto the end user's device is pretty limited. So from that point of view, the first bit which we all need to do, I mean, if whichever one of you is into the area of downloadable mobile application, is to create an ecosystem itself. How we can, grow that. So there are 3 points, right? First of all, it's very difficult to find a downloadable mobile application. I mean, let's say it's my mother who wants some religious content from somewhere, a downloadable application which gives her some religious content from somewhere. Where does she find it? How does she know OV? Whether she can, pay €1 using her credit card onto the OV to download that application. There are basic questions like that. And those we need to address first in terms of how to get mobile applications to end user first, before we saying, how do we increase the usage of the mobile application. So that's the first step. How you can increase the usage, I mean, I have some thoughts on how, once downloaded, how you can increase the usage of a downloadable mobile application, but that's another topic. So it may happen that you can create enough curiosity for somebody to download an application, but then how do you generate even more curiosity for that person to use it on a regular basis? So that depends a lot on what kind of content you have, obviously, what kind of product you have, but also on some usability bits, like have you included enough help, have you included way to support, how you included a way to collaborate with other people in good enough manner. Is it fast enough, is it easy enough, and so on.
So just on the collaboration point of view, right, you said you have APIs to call the device support related things.
Yes.
How are you playing on the APIs with respect to the web or communication of the APIs from the service providers or services point of view?
Correct. Now our APIs are simple JavaScript APIs, so we kept it in the same web technologies that we expect the application developers to develop the applications in. So from that bit we have found it's extremely easy to work with those 2 ends. So you get one data using a similar kind of API from device, and you get another bit of data from similar kind of APIs from web, and you mesh this up together to present a combined view to the user. And you can you have a choice to keep that meshing up logic onto the client as well as onto the server, depending on what kind of devices you are trying to address. So to give you an example, let's say if you're trying to address a smartphone device which has 500 megahertz processing power, maybe you want to do some of the processing on the device itself. But if you are trying to do the same application on a J2ME S40 device, which has maybe 150 megahertz of processor, then you may not want to do a lot of processing onto the device itself. You may want to push a lot of it to the server itself. So we give you the flexibility to do that. That's all. Or any good web runtime should give you the flexibility.
Sure. Thanks.
So if there are no more questions, I would like to again thank you for your time and patience. Bear with me. Thank you very much.
And Twitter. I used to wonder, what is behind all these applications. So now I understand it's more about cloud computing and the way people are mashing up data and using, social websites to sync up and use it in applications. So that's what, Lalit explored it. He answered fantastic, some interesting questions. He addressed all of us. And now, when you know what are the 3 keys which he shared, right, to make a fantastic web application. What goes in is something that should be simple, it should be fast and social. Now you know the keys, so you developers go ahead and can easily develop your applications, right? Thanks Lalit for the fantastic talk. Few housekeeping announcements here. Maybe before that I'll call upon Kaushik from Mindtree to felicitate Lalit. There is a Nokia quiz that's happening around. So before 1:30, please drop it into the sponsor's booth there. And we have the quiz contest which will win a Nokia handset for you guys. And there are 3 surprise gifts which would be given at the end of the session. That would be after the panel discussion. If you guys are not there and if you are lucky enough to get your name, but if you're not there around, so that gift gets passed on. So assure that you stick around for the panel discussion, which is the ice-breaking session. And drop in your Nokia quiz to the Nokia booth. Yeah? And now, it's always said that, right, one cannot think well if one cannot dine well. So now what's there for my lunch? Go and check out the lunches out there. Thank you guys. Phones. Its applications are getting richer day by day. It takes enormous efforts to develop new applications and test it in various conditions. This entire process of manual testing is of course laborious. And of course, being human, we always tend to come up with errors. Most important, the time taken to do so. How far can we leverage an automation here? How can this be done in a seamless fashion? Time to market is important, and more important is to deliver product which is of good quality. With us, we have Nilesh Maheshwari, the business head mobile and wireless at Impetus Technologies Pune, who is going to educate us on automation. He is responsible for offshore and end-to-end project execution and delivery for multiple accounts, new business development in the US and Europe, and new product development for the Indian market. A hardcore techie, Nilesh has expertise in distribution, application architecture, object-oriented design, service-oriented architecture, multi-talent design, and web-based applications. So let us hear from the one who has earned a program in general management from IIM Indore, Nilesh Maheshwari, on automated mobile testing.
Am I audible? So good afternoon everyone. I hope you're not feeling sleepy after the heavy lunch. So Bhise has given me a challenge, so let me see how much I can keep you awake. So the topic of today's discussion is automated mobile testing, and here the agenda looks like. So I will briefly talk about take you through some challenges on the testing side, where the test automation fits in, unit testing tools which can be pretty much utilized for automation of unit testing, benefits and criteria for test automation, limitations, where we can use test automation and where we cannot use test automation. And finally, I will briefly touch upon some of the test automation tools and a brief comparison of all the test automation tools. In the middle, I will also try to give you a demo of one of the test automation tools. So before diving into the details, just wanted to know from some of you that what do you expect from this
session. Has anybody thought about it? What kind